All right, perfect. Well, hello and welcome. I hope you're having a great day. My name is Beth, and I am the librarian at GSU for Public Health and Gerontology. This is kind of a primer on getting ready for GRA responsibilities in the health sciences. I know that a lot of folks come in with different levels of comfort with research tools or with what's available at Georgia State for research. So I think this should help get everyone on the same page with what is going to be the most helpful things for you to do to prepare for as you're going into that experience. Because the GRA program, it's really an excellent opportunity for you. You can get going on your CV, have actual projects and papers under your belt as you're moving forward into your career. So we want to help you make the most of it. And I have put into the chat, there is a research guide that I've made for y'all, and it's also repeated on the title slide here, that research.library.gsu.edu/GRA_health sciences. It is specific to health sciences because the things that y'all would use in your fields are going to be a little different than those in other areas. But anyone who is in areas like public health, gerontology, nursing, health professions, kinesiology, all of that, this would be applicable. So, getting started, the GRA starter kit, as I would call it, is really six main things to have squared away as you're starting. So some of these are going to be tools to make sure that you have those tools either engaged, downloaded, make sure that you understand how to use them because they're going to be really helpful when you're working on your projects, and also trainings. So one of them, already doing great being here. So this is one of the library's many trainings that we offer for different topics, but we also offer things on, say, different kinds of projects, like doing literature reviews. That's something that GRAs are often asked to do, is to do a literature review on a topic. You may be asked to use different databases or to use some of these citation managers, getting really comfortable with them. We do trainings for all of that. But there are also other additional trainings that you may be either required or it would be a good idea to have. So we'll also introduce you to those. And then just having these resources at the ready, two of the six here is connecting with your subject librarian. So that might be me, that might be some of my colleagues like Joel or Amani or Charlene, and also having this GRA Ready LibGuide bookmarked. So you have that ready to go when you have questions, when you need a link to go and find what your instructor is asking you to find, when your faculty has a project for you, you'll be able to get what you need right away. So to that end, a little bit about those research tools. So everyone likes a practical start, and citation managers are really as practical as you come. These are the tools that you can use to streamline what you're doing in your literature reviews when you're searching. Again, one of the most common things that I see faculty assigning their GRAs is something like a literature review, to do those database searches, to collect articles on a topic, to find the most recent information about it. So having something like a citation manager, Zotero, EndNote, those are going to help you out to have all of that in order, to be able to easily communicate what you found to your faculty member. And I'll show you what that looks like here. So there's a little bit of show and tell element. I'll pop a few things up. I'm a Zotero girl. I love Zotero. It's something that I've just gotten used to, but EndNote is also very popular and very well used. But when you get a citation manager like here, Zotero, it's just a library of stuff. I have all kinds of stuff. This is a very large library because I've been collecting things for years. You can see on the left side there are folders, so you can organize things in here to make it a little easier for you to manage, to separate out different parts of a project that you're working on. And for each item that you're saving, you can also do things like add notes to it. So if you have anything important that you want to notate, if there was a reason you saved it and you're worried, like me, that maybe later you'll forget why you saved this article, this gives you that kind of flexibility, adding notes, adding tags. and saving all of that information. Now, to get things into your library here, to get all of these things here, there's another little button. Your citation managers, they come in two parts. There's the library that lives with you, and there's a button that lives on your browser. So if we're in, let's say I will open up, I'm going to open up a little PubMed search so you can see what that looks like. And recently I was looking for things with dementia therapy and doing some proximity searching. So you get a little preview of what I was doing today. You can see in the browser up by the address bar, and I apologize, it's very small. I wish I could blow that part up, but there is a little button that pops up next to your address bar, and that says Save to Zotero. So this is your best friend. When you have a citation manager that you're working with like this, you can search databases, PubMed, if you're in CINAHL, if you're in Embase, any of these databases we have access to. And if you find results you like, you can just click a button in your browser and say, you know what, I want to send these all to my library, and it'll send them all right there. So I've got my library here. It's saving everything on this result page. If I look back on my library, then I start seeing all of those items for dementia and music therapy. They're in here already. I didn't have to do anything. And when I click on each one, it automatically pulled all the information about it. So when you need those citations, you may be using something like APA, where you know you need to use every part of the info to make sure everything is correct. You have all of those elements here. And you can just continue on doing your research like that, where you're looking for things in databases, you find something you like, you click the button in your browser and it sends it over to your Zotero or your EndNote. Makes it very simple and very easy to save everything you need and to get back to it. Now, the other great thing that I love about this that makes it a magic button for you, and it makes things a lot easier when you're putting together your resources for your faculty member, is you can use this to automatically draft a bibliography for you. Because if your faculty says, I want you to do a literature review on this topic, I want you to give me 20 sources on this on Friday. Well, if you have them in here, all you got to do is select what you want. I'm going to right click and say I want to create a bibliography. And you don't have to remember all of these steps, but I want to show you the magic and what it can do. Create a bibliography in APA style. And then when I have my Word document, all I got to do is paste. And it's all here. Everything that I selected and I said I want a bibliography of that, it went ahead and put that in for me. So this is so much easier than doing everything by hand. Nobody likes writing citations by hand. You're not alone there. So this is going to help you out and make things a lot quicker. Now, one thing I will point out, because this is, of course, put together by a computer, not by a person, so you want to make sure that it's correct. And when I'm looking at the drafts, usually the thing that I correct the most is capitalization. So if you do APA enough, you'll kind of get a feel for it. And we get used to the idea that when you're looking at an article and you're trying to write in APA format, all of those words are not supposed to be capitalized. So in this case, I see in this LAM article, the article title, all of those words were capitalized. I would go and edit that just to make sure it's corrected. But this is so much easier than doing it by hand. So I still very much recommend go ahead and let this do your draft for you, and then you have minimal work to edit it afterward. The other great thing that it does is when you're writing, let's say if I have a blank document here and I'm writing it out, this is the first part of my paper where I need to put in-text citations. That's right, everyone loves citations, and especially in-text citations, right? She said sarcastically. And in-text citations will drive people crazy too. But don't panic, because all you have to do if you have something like this with EndNote or Zotero, it talks to Word, it talks to Docs. So when you download those, you'll get a tab that lives in your Word software. So here I have a Zotero tab. So if I wanted to put my in-text citations in here from resources that I've already saved, they're already in my citation manager library, I can move my cursor where I want it. So got it right here. And I click on a button for Add Citation. And I want APA style, that is correct. And it gives me a little search bar. And from here, I can just put in whatever article I want to insert there, and it's going to do that for me. So I'll do one more here. Let's keep it simple. This is the second one. So I can even do multiples if there was something you had where you needed to cite multiple people in the same part. So I'll put in a few here. I just did that one, so there we go. So you can put several in. It's going to go ahead and just insert things for you. And the best part about this is that as you're writing and you're putting things in text, when you're ready to make your reference list, you can move your cursor down where you want that reference list. And there's another button for Add Bibliography there. And then it's just going to spit out that bibliography of what you already inserted into the paper. So it knows you already inserted those above. It's going to pull that information and it's going to give you the draft again. So again, minimal editing, just taking a look over it to see, is there something that I need to correct, like that capitalization issue that I see pop up in the Smith article as well. Much easier than trying to do all that by hand. So this is kind of showing you that magic. We do have the links to that, so you can get those materials back. You can get Zotero, you can get EndNote, either one. We also have research guides where it'll help you through it. If you're new to it, you need to download, you need help saving things there. We have folks for that. So we have both the download links and the research guide links for these. The one difference that I would mention about these is between Zotero and EndNote, both do, again, the same kinds of stuff. So not really worried about functionality as much. But if you are doing Zotero, that is free online. So anyone can get a Zotero, it is free. If you're doing EndNote, that is something where you have a free license through GSU. So for you, it's going to be free. But if you happen to be working in the future with a team, maybe you're in a research team that not everyone has a note, that's something just to be aware of, because as far as cost goes, if somebody doesn't have access to EndNote without paying for a new license, that could be a difference in what citation manager you choose. But these are really great. One of the closest things we have to having a magic button. So I highly recommend getting this downloaded and sorted out before you start your research projects. Now, the other tool that I really like to just get out of the way from the start is doing your library links in Google Scholar. We use Google Scholar for all kinds of stuff. Even librarians, we use it frequently. It's a very user-friendly tool, and we use it for citation mining, cited reference searching. We use it for organic searching to find stuff online. But Google Scholar, you can improve it even from where it's at. You can tell Google Scholar that you would like it not only to search for stuff that's out there on the web, but also stuff that you have access to as a GSU student. So I'll show you where to do that. We'll bring up our Google Scholar. So when you're on Google Scholar, you'll want to go to the little button in the corner over here, the hamburger navigation, I think it's usually called, just a little stack of square lines in a row. So the hamburger navigation is where your settings are. So go down to that gear button, we got settings, and library links is what you want, because we're going to link up our GSU library with your other materials you have access to publicly. Now here, we're on a college campus, a university campus connection. So it already recognizes for me that I have access to Georgia State stuff because it knows I'm on a Georgia State connection. If you were not, though, you could search for that. Say if you're at home, you might not be on the VPN, you might be just at home on your normal connection. So you can look for Georgia State University and make sure that's selected. and save it. So if your cookies are on, you save it, it's going to retain that. So it'll keep that information for you. And that way, when you're searching, let's say if I'm searching for, let's do kidney stones, sure. We're going to see not only the public records of stuff, so I could click on these different links and look around and find stuff on the public, but also there's these find it at GSU buttons because Google Scholar now knows that it can show me things from GSU and I'm allowed to see them. So even some stuff like this one, the PAC article here, this only has a GSU link. So some stuff you may not be able to find on the public record, but it would be there for GSU. So this gives you more flexibility and it lets you do a little, kill two birds with one stone. You're finding more with just one search that you have. Now, this is a great tool. Again, I love Google Scholar. It has a lot of utility. One of my other favorite things about Google Scholar while we're here is the cited by underneath. So we use this for what we call cited reference searching. But if you get used to using Google Scholar and you have this button available to you, it's really great because say if I found this on kidney stones and I really liked it was on topic, but it's just a little old, it's 2016, we need some more recent material. You can use Google Scholar to see who else cited this since it was published in 2016. Who else has been writing about this more recently? So we can update ourselves on that. Everything that's in this list is more recent than 2016 because it used that article as one of its references. And this isn't the only kind of search, the only kind of database that does this. You'll see some of these are available on, say, PubMed or Web of Science. You'll have who else has cited this article. But where I think Google Scholar has an edge is it gives you this option for search within the citing articles. And that is gold because if you have something like this where there's 971 results, you don't want to have to look through all of those to find what you're looking for. We can just click on search within the citing articles and say, you know what, out of all this stuff that cited that article, I want to find only the ones that talked about, let's say, retirement homes. And there are 4 that specifically included retirement homes. So a great difference from 971 that I would have had to comb through to just 4. It did the work for me. So this is a great way to use Google Scholar to your advantage, having that library links option turned on, using the cited by option for that cited reference searching. And also for what we call citation mining. If you're just trying to look up a citation that you found in an article or in a book where they referred to somebody, you can just look it up in Google Scholar. And especially if you have those library links turned on, then you're pretty likely to go ahead and find that and you'll have it in hand. Not a problem. So those are the couple of tools that I really recommend. When you're getting started, make sure you have your citation manager sorted and your library links in Google Scholar because they're going to help you out as you go. And then, like I mentioned, we have all kinds of research training and workshops. So some of these you might be required to do, some maybe not. So for one thing, city training. If you are told that you have to have city training for your project that you're working with, then that's something that you can do for free online. We have a link in the research guide that I provided to you. I'll show you where that is. And this is just the research guide I mentioned before and was on the title card as well as in the chat for this session. So on the GRA Ready research guide, I have a button for training and tutorials. So this is where you'll find these links. So we have city certification linked here. And this would just take you to that website where you register for a free account and you'll complete the training that is required of you. Your faculty member will tell you which training is necessary because there are different kinds. So if you're not sure, just ask your faculty member which one you're supposed to take. And that way you'll have the certification that you may be required to have. The other ones that you should be aware of, though, as far as trainings go, URSA training, that may be required or it may just be a really good idea for you if you're going to be working in a lab. So URSA, they put together a calendar of these different trainings going on each semester, and these are all extremely useful and really valuable. So, trainings on using Chematics, if you're using that software in order to access the information for chemicals you may be working with, if you're using it to schedule hazardous waste pickup, that kind of thing. They will train you on that software and a lot of different other great topics. So, lab safety, hazardous waste disposal, biosafety, radiation safety. You could be working on a variety of things. So, they will give you the training for that to make sure that you have everything you need to work in those labs. And for research stuff, the library, we have all kinds of stuff going on. So today you're already here. So, excellent first step getting into our Panther Involvement Network events that we have going on. But there's a lot coming up. You can see I have an RSS feed here to show us that some of the things that are coming up soon. We have using Canva. So that's one of our multimedia presentation kind of visualization softwares that you have available for maybe doing a presentation on your research project you're working on. Maybe you want to make some cool things that you can put into a publication, a manuscript that you're working on. We have data help. We have literature reviews as a project. If you're trying to do a literature review or you're assigned to do a literature review, we will tell you how to do that. So you're not left out in the cold. We're here to help you and a whole lot of other things available as well. So we will put our database deep dives on there too. I've been doing database deep dives this semester, and the last one was actually just previous to this session. So we did one at noon going over PubMed, but we will be doing more coming through. So looking at other databases like CINAHL, Embase, Web of Science, other databases that you may be interested in exploring or using better and using more of the advanced search techniques for them. We will have these coming up too. So keep an eye on our library events page because we'll have these trainings available out there. So training is always welcome. We love it. Learning new things is always really important, especially when it can save you time and hassle because you shouldn't be stuck. If you do get stuck, you can just come talk to us and we're here to help. Oh, one of the other things I want to mention for trainings and workshops is research data services. So I have also linked to them on our research guide. So back on that guide with all of my handy links and the events coming up. Research data services is part of the library, so they're kind of folded in with what we do here. But whereas, say, I do a lot of the literature searching in the databases and figuring out how to get information out of PubMed and other wide-ranging databases like that. Research data services, they can help with the data portion of what you're doing. So if you're working with a faculty member who wants you to use SAS or R or SPSS to wrangle the data that they're working with, we can help you with that. Our research data services, they provide trainings on these different pieces of software for analytics, and they also do things with software for visualization. They do survey software. So if you're helping a faculty member design a survey that could be given to folks for part of the project, we provide training on that too. Learn how to use Qualtrics, learn how to do really good quality surveys. So the training and the workshops, they will keep up in the rotation. Just, make a little bookmark so you know when things are coming up and you can access those. And if there's any special requests too, you can always work one-on-one with us. We're really happy to help address anything individually. But just so you know to keep an eye on these as they're coming up. Okay, now we're getting into a little bit more details because with the tools and the trainings, those were really the meat of your starter kit. Just as a reminder, we had the citation manager, the library links. We have your trainings like city training, library and URSA trainings, are really the key things to get started with. But a couple other things I just wanted to put out there to make communication easier with your faculty member or with me. If you would like to email me about something you find or about something you came across on the database, I want you to have the tools that you need for getting that communication right. So also just this is a note to saving things and using permalinks and stable URLs. So this is something I see come up periodically because a lot of folks are very used to bookmarking things just as you normally would with any website, where you use the address at the top of the page and you save that address, or you send that address to your faculty member, or you send that address and you give it to me to say, hey, what's this article? How do I find more like this? But sometimes if you use that address from that bar, it breaks when you send it to somebody. And the key for that, the reason why that's happening is that when you go into a database, one of our subscription databases, those are tied into your own login. You know how GSU likes you to use Duo for everything? So it's always going to ask you, hey, are you a GSU person? Prove it. So it's tied to that authentication process. So if you used your web address to try to send me something, you email me something about an article you found, I wouldn't be able to see it because it's attached to your authentication. So I'm going to point out where to look for the correct URL to share, because that's going to be a really primary way to share things with your faculty members as well. So let me bring over, again, going from your research guide that I put together for you. I have a whole tab for finding resources, and there's a lot of different kinds of resources you may be interested in finding that might be relevant to your work that you're doing. So there are different sections here you can explore at your leisure. For our purposes, we'll go to journal articles. We have a lot of different techniques here to let you know how to go about that. And a process for database searching, kind of making sure that you're following all steps to get the information you need. So from our databases A to Z list, linked right here so we can find what we need. Let's say I'm looking in a database that's for nursing. Okay, I got some options here. We got Joel over here, so our nursing librarian. We'll go with Cinol. Look at stuff in Cinol. This is great nursing and allied health resource. If I'm in Cinol and I'm finding materials for my faculty member on, let's go back to music therapy. I like that. I'm just going to put in some terms, not make it too fancy. I can get some results here and get a lot of results. If I wanted to share this, I do not use this address at the top of the page. That's what I don't want you to use. That's what's going to break on us, because this had to know that I was allowed to be here. I already had logged in with my credentials before. I'm on a campus connection, so it let me see this. But if I was going to send it to somebody else, it would break. So look under the share button, and this is where it'll give you what they call a permalink. So the link that it generates for you here, this is what's going to work. If you copy this link and paste it into an email, then the person who receives it is going to be able to see what you're sending them. So here we have a link that would just take me back to this result page. Or if I was looking at a particular article, there's a button on the side for permalink, and that's where I would get that. It would generate it for me again. And this may look different in different databases, just so you aren't kind of left adrift if you don't see this exact button popping up. Let's say if I'm in a different, uh, let's see, we'll do a different database, like maybe health and medical collection. Trying to look for a ProQuest database. There we go. So different owner, different company owns this. We could do the same kind of thing in here. So looking for materials, there's a lot here. Here they have a button for save search or alert that gives you a button for get search link. So in that case, you're looking for that get search link instead. So they may use different terms like permalink, get search link, stable URL, but those are the terms you're going to be looking for. And if you're not sure where to find it, if you don't know where that link is, you can feel free to just send the citation information. If you were emailing me, say, and you wanted me to look at an article, you can send me the information like the author, the title, and things, and I would be able to look that up from there. But just be aware when you're doing these and saving links. I have seen students who only saved links and they were the wrong kind, so they lost a lot of work. So make sure that you're saving the right ones when you go about it. And a note when we're coming back here, like I said, there's a lot of different kinds of resources that you may be using. So journal articles, books and ebooks, getting data and measurements, looking at websites, looking at other sources. We have all kinds of resources for you. So don't panic if your faculty member is asking you to find something that you've never really looked for before, because you have a friend in the library. We're here to help you out with that. And as you're getting things together and maybe you're working toward a manuscript or a presentation, we have additional resources on making that happen. So resources on how to do a poster presentation. Those are really common for graduate students to do presentations like that. Having a poster at a conference, that's something that's great to put on your CV. So we have a whole guide for that, as well as templates and recommendations and tips and tricks. And we have Orchid over here. If you haven't done an Orchid ID yet, registered for a free account, I highly recommend that y'all do this because in your GRA work, you're getting into the professional side of things. So Orchid is a number that is associated with you specifically. It is what will tell people that even if there's someone else out there with your same name, they did not do the project that you did. This is your work. This is an online record that is very specific to you. It tells folks what you have done. You can upload things to it. You can attach your manuscripts, your publications, your presentations to it. And that's something that you can also put on your CV. It also lends a lot of credence and veracity to your CV itself. So when you're going out and you're applying for different jobs and you have that ORCID ID attached, other people will be able to look at your ORCID record and they can see not only did you say that you worked at GSU, but GSU says that you worked for them. So companies, institutions like ours, we can claim our people, we can claim those roles. So that adds that extra veracity. So it's not even just you tell people that you have this experience, they know you have that experience and that work behind you. So highly recommend that, especially if you are also going to be looking at grant applications. There are a lot of different organizations like the NIH, the CDC, NSF that are starting to require ORCID as part of the application process. So if that might be in your future, it doesn't hurt to go ahead and just register for a free ORCID, and that will stay with you through your career. All right. So kind of keeping it a little on the shorter side here today, but just a note for when you're getting ready to talk to your faculty. I also have some tips in getting your assignment on this research guide with just some research oriented questions and considerations that you may want to look into specifically. Because if you haven't worked on this kind of project before, getting to work with your faculty on research materials, there are things you should be asking them from the start. So even with having your software downloaded, having everything in order, knowing that you have your trainings lined up, asking the right questions can make a big difference with your communication and success. So just making sure that you're asking things of your faculty like, has anyone worked on this before? Are there any previous documents that you could take a look at? What would you expect me to find if I'm doing research for you? What kind of stuff would you want me to get or would you expect me to get for you? How do you want me to report to you? Do you want me to make a Zotero library and share that with you? Do you want me to email you? Do you want me to tell you about it in a WebEx meeting once a week or once a month? So asking those kinds of questions, that will help you out. Also, don't neglect asking about deadlines. That is absolutely fair. Get to know from the start if there's an expected deadline or if there's a length of time that your faculty member would expect this work to occur. That will help kind of save some stress if things don't go quite the way you hope they would from the start. You have a common idea of how the process is going to go so that you can keep them up to date with any developments in that area. So I know I have been away from my chat window here for a minute. Let me put this up here. This is a selection of our subject librarians who work with health sciences. So we have Imani Beverly. She's covering biomedical, biology, chemistry, hard sciences like that. Joel Glagowski in nursing and health professions. Charlene Martoni in neuroscience, psychology, and sociology. And of course, I cover public health and gerontology. So we are all happy to help. You can always reach out to us through email. We also do one-on-one consultations, so you can meet with us. We can work with you to get started on a project or help you out with organizing what you're doing, so you're really getting started the best way possible. And we're here to support you. We're not giving you a grade. We're just here to help you out with what you need for research. So I'm going to take a peek over here to make sure I'm not missing anything in the chat, but I would welcome if there's any questions or any concerns that you may have. I am here for answering. You can use your mic or the chat, either one. It's also perfectly fine if there are no questions at this time. I will go ahead and stop recording. So in case there's anything that comes up that nobody wanted to be on recording, I will address that. But I do see there's a question, how can I find research opportunities as an undergraduate student? I love that energy. I love it. Undergrads getting to do this kind of research work is such a cool opportunity. I've been lucky to work with some of the undergraduates starting out this semester. And the way that I see that happening a lot is through instructors. When you're in a class with an instructor that you're interested in that area, you're interested in that kind of a working relationship or maybe getting in on some of the research work, I would really encourage you to talk to that research professor, talk to them and see, hey, are there any opportunities? Maybe they work in the lab, maybe they have a research team that's popping up, and they can kind of help guide you through that. Because I do know of some of the teams that do have mixed batches of undergraduates as well as graduates working on their teams. And that will depend on the faculty member and what they're working on at the time. But really good question. And I'm also going to pull up on our site here. Let me get the correct guide. This just walked away from my original link here. Okay. So I don't believe the link to the main GSU GRA page is on here. So let me pull this up for us. Okay. Come here. Let me blow this up here. It's very tiny when I share my screen, so making sure that this comes through. So there are these selections of opportunities that are available, things like the Perimeter Research Assistantship, things like this that are popping up through CASA. So let me put that in the chat down here. So we have the link. All right, that is there. So that can provide opportunities. And this page is older. I see that they're listing some dates in 2020. So this is something that if I was interested, I would probably reach out to them. So Center for Advancement of Students and Alumni, just to see what the most recent developments on there are. They may just not have updated this page in a while. Occasionally that does happen. And also for graduate assistantship resources. Let me bring this up and I will add this to the chat as well, making sure we have all our resources coming through here. Is for those graduate opportunities too. So looking for those undergraduate opportunities and also looking forward to graduate positions. There's a lot of different areas that you can check out. Yeah, good questions. All right, and as promised, I will stop the recording here, so we're good.